Fala galera, beleza? Aqui quem fala é o Cláudio e seja bem-vindo a mais um vídeo, hein? Galera, hoje lhes trago a continuação de What's Remain of EDITH FINCH. A gente tinha parado exatamente aqui. Eu tava dando uma olhada aqui, galera. Ela desenha o personagem de acordo com o que a história vai contando. Então ainda faltam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Falta o Ed, Sam, Gregory, Gus, Dava, Milton e Levi. Vou chamar de Levi. Pra quem assiste Attack on Titan.
If she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
Tanta
I
escalada.
never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
O quê? Eu nunca teria vindo quando estava grávida. Ué, ela tem quantos anos agora? Não era... fiquei na dúvida agora. Ah, a escada aqui.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Será que a gente vai chegar... Nossa! Nossa, eles gostavam mesmo de pássaro, hein? Mas também, no meio do mato, o que mais deve ter aqui é pássaro.
They were
Eita!
both pretty intense.
Galera, se já estiver gostando dos vídeos, puder deixar aquele like, ficaria imensamente
Sam spent his
agradecido.
life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
Nossa senhora, o foco dessa câmera, hein? Vai tirar foto do... Ah!
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Nossa! Ah! Será que é isso?
Aw.
Acho que não.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Nossa, foco. Ah! Tá mijando.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
Nothing quite like being outside. I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was.
Dad!
Good eyes, Don.
Ué?
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Antes de o quê? De atirar?
Dad,
Ah,
I...
Just breathe. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you need to be strong. Great shot, Don! I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Eu controlo o velho.
Sorry, Don. Just gotta reset the timer.
Certo, agora sim. Parei lá no meio do caminho.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so-
normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Caraca, velho, ele morreu, velho. Ele morreu assim, mano. É, se
Of
vingou,
all
hein?
these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Caraca, velho. Pá, o que tem aqui?
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Ih, as cartas da criança. Contrato de quê? Divórcio?
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Ih, sou bebê.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Ué, eu tô controlando um sapo, mano.
It's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I
Opa!
wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
Pá. Tá, mano. Peguei. Nada pra fazer, eu vou derrubar as letras aqui.
He reminded me so
Ah, o nome
much
dele,
of
Gregory.
Lost in his imagination.
Acho que não dá não, hein.
Whatever it was, he saw.
Ah, pera aí. Agora dá pra soltar mais longe.
It sure made him happy.
Opa, dá sim, mano. Dá pra derrubar tudo aí, ó. Ah, não acredito, velho. Tem troféu pra isso. Gregory. Ah! Pá, derrubar aqui o shampoo.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Acabou com a brincadeira, hein?
Damn it.
I wish you could have told us.
Ah, não
About
acredito.
the world he saw.
Ih, mano, ih, mano.
There's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened.
Ué,
wasn't
sou
your fault.
verde? Ah, sou um sapo.
I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Ah, se sentia culpada, mano. Eita, mano.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet
Gus. 3
A
anos?
poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
É, 3? Não me lembro.
Our father never hit us kids, at least not
Oh.
very hard. Before the day my brother said with teenage
Oh, mano, tô
disregard
roubando essa legenda,
he'd
mano.
be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Não! Ah, tá, peraí. Tem que passar por aqui pra ler.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Pipa. Na terra de vocês também chama pipa? Diz aí nos comentários como que se chama
I
isso na
tried
sua
to
terra
talk
de
him out
vocês.
of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
I now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Eu sei que tem vários nomes. Mas isso não é uma pipa, né? É uma pipa. Eita.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Caraca, que garoto atrevido, mano. Sentava a lenha, mano.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Eita, tempestade, mano. Soltar uma pipa na tempestade não é uma boa ideia, não, hein?
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Rusticamente.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Cara, o cara nem lembrou do filho lá fora soltando pipa, mano.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, Just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Caraca, então não foi a pipa?
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Nossa senhora, só as histórias tristes, hein? Vai escalar? Eita, pra escalar,
My mom
mano.
moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Quem que escalava isso, mano? De quem que era esse quarto?
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
As legendas assim é bem diferente, bem legal, mas às vezes não dá pra ler, mano. Às vezes parece nos lugares aleatórios que não tem como. Eita, mano, eu vou
When
subir
my
aquela
dad
casa
died,
louca, mano.
I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Olha, cada um tinha sua hortinha.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Um pouquinho maior. Nossa senhora.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Nossa, mas era uma família gigante, hein, que morava aqui. Eles tinham até escolinha
But it
aqui
didn't
dentro.
last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Ah, esse era o castelo? Milton.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Ah, esse era o que tinha aquele cartaz desaparecido lá no comecinho, né? Até que não tem a data dele de falecimento. Pera aí. É, não tem nada. Cara, tem que ter muita habilidade pra fazer uma maquete dessa, hein?
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Que da hora, mano. Eu já fiz um desses já. Mas é pequenininho, mano. Devia ter só umas 20 páginas. 30, era curtinho. Vocês já fizeram um desses já? Na época da escola, mano. Isso aí ficou mais famoso na época da escola. Acho que era no ensino fundamental que eu tinha.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Tá, aqui é caminho sem saída.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Ué, pra onde que eu vou agora? Ah, tá. Nossa, nem tinha visto. Caraca, mano, olha a altura, mano.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself.
Nossa, as crianças viviam aqui, mano. Caraca, mano.
After he
Muito
graduated,
alto.
he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room.
Vamos
Except
olhar mais
Louis.
próximo. O quarto dele parece legal, mano. Baladinha. Tá, temos dois caminhos. Eu vou pela escada aqui que é mais... É, não tem escada. Vou ter que vir pra cá mesmo. Ah, um barco, mano. Cara, os caras enfiaram um barco aqui em cima, mano. Barco não, né? Lancha?
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Um Polystation, mano. Wonderland. Cara, isso é um Polystation.
Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Diploma High School Music.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
Sabia que esse cheirinho não era
Newly sober,
diferente.
I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself.
Ah, o cheiro então era de produtos químicos
In our
da
sessions, I saw
fábrica.
the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh,
I asked him to describe it.
nossa, tô controlando tudo ao mesmo tempo, mano.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And
Nossa.
things that have not names.
Oh, complicado controlar tudo ao mesmo tempo, né?
He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Esse
But
pensamento,
he found something more.
quando corta alguma coisa, não é muito bom não, hein?
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Ah, o cara tá bem, o cara tá viajando na
Like a
maionese
whole
aqui,
new
mano.
Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Nossa, tá cada vez ficando maior, mano.
He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia.
Levistopia?
He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Caraca, mano, que viagem.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band.
Já tô até imaginando a merda que vai dar, mano.
And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
Viva.
St. Louis.
São Levis. Nossa.
He started drifting away from our reality.
Tudo isso na imaginação, mano. Nossa.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows.
Eu já não sei mais o que tô fazendo com os peixes, mano. Tá no automático.
He followed the sound of her
Vamos pra esquerda.
electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Nossa, já não chega mais nada, mano. Só a fantasia.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Pô, isso aqui parece Aladdin, mano. Do Play 1.
But he was so proud of having created it.
Huh?
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Caraca, ele se matou, mano.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Tá, agora sou eu no real. Ih, essa ervinha aí, hein, mano. Isso é meu? Deve ser, não tá igual ao quarto.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Não, sério. Sério.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Curvar minha cabeça. Não.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Caraca, mas
My
que
brother was
história,
really
hein?
cool. I wish you could have met him.
Que história foi essa, mano? Nossa. Tá. Agora tem que voltar? Ah, não, pra cá. Caraca, mano, eu vou subir mais, mano.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She
Ah.
waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Cara, casa é uma casa amaldiçoada, hein, mano.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Faltou a mãe aí no meio, hein? Falou my mom.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Tá, aqui já é o quarto da Edith.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Subiu só as 3. Até agora.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Cara, isso é tsunami,
There'd been
mano.
an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
Viu?
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Ah, então pera aí. Aquele cartaz que falava que era pra todo mundo evacuar, ela não evacuou pra isso? Pra ir ver a casa?
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
Eu não tô vendo nada, mano.
I started seeing things.
Oxi. Parece casco batendo, mas aqui tá cheio de lama.
things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Caraca, mano. Pera, então o filho dela foi o último. É o último? Ela morreu também? Finalizamos. Olha, quem fez o jogo tem a foto deles de criança. Que da hora, mano. O fim de tudo. Então, todo mundo morreu, só sobrou aquele garoto. Que devia ser o filho dela, que ela falou que tava grávida, né? Aos 22. Então ele foi o último. Galera, mano. Nossa, gostei bastante desse jogo, mano. Uma narrativa muito boa. O modo como conta as histórias, eu achei muito interessante, mano. Agora o da Molly, mano. Como que ela morreu? Será que ela morreu depois que ela engoliu aquelas... Não sei o que é. Não lembro agora. Aquelas frutinhas de mentira. Será que foi isso? Foi depois daquilo que ela teve aquela viagem com o gato. Obrigado, Johan. De nada. Então, foi depois daquilo que ela teve aquelas alucinações doidas com o gato. Então, será que ela morreu engasgada? Quem mais que ficou meio misterioso? Acho que era só, né? Que foi o que mais... No começo eu não entendi. Agora pensando... Ela comeu a pasta de dente lá, né? E depois enfiou aquelas bolas lá de fruta de mentira na boca. Acho que foi o único que na hora eu não entendi. Mas agora eu entendi. Quer dizer, entendi não. Deve ser isso. Ah, da Bárbara. Bárbara. Será que foi o namorado dela? O principal suspeito que também desapareceu? Será? Tá, essa aí eu fiquei na dúvida. Ficou algumas coisas em aberto que eu não entendi. Quem entendeu mais, deixa aí nos comentários aí. Vou ler tudo, vamos discutir sobre isso. Esse jogo me deixou, acho que um dos melhores jogos, mano, que eu já joguei. Não de gráfico, jogabilidade, mas a história, mano, a narrativa, como conta as pequenas histórias, eu achei muito boa, mano. Cara, a história do cara lá da fábrica. É Ed, né? Ed o nome dele. Cara, sensacional aquela história, mano. Sensacional, mano. Caraca, mano. O cara viajou na maionese, mano. Galera, eu acho que tá acabando os créditos. Bom, vamos ver se tem alguma coisa mais pra frente. Um controle de Polystation lá. Nossa, a forma que eles colocaram os créditos são totalmente diferentes, hein? É um jogo extremamente criativo, mano. Muita coisa diferente, viajada. Mas legal, mano. Ficou bem interessante. O time da EDITH FINCH 2012 e 2017. O fim. Acho que 2012 e 2017 foi o tempo de criação. Será? Tanto tempo assim? Ou todo mundo morreu lá? Não sei. A opção jogar história novamente já está disponível. Selecione Edit para jogar do início. Ok. Finalizamos, galera. Deu 50 minutos mais ou menos. Deu quase 2 horas de vídeo. Olha, gostei muito. Deixa nos comentários o que vocês acharam. Eu tô trazendo uns jogos meio diferentes assim, não só jogos de tiro, né, FPS. Mas jogos diferentes também, com uma história boa. Que nem da Erika. Erika, né? Acho que é Erika. É diferente, mano. É legal jogar esses jogos de vez em quando. E é isso. Vou finalizar por aqui. Muito obrigado por terem assistido. Deixa aí nos comentários que jogo que vocês querem que eu traga aqui. Pode botar qualquer jogo eu farei o possível para trazer. Deixa aí nos comentários. Ou me mande mensagem lá no Instagram, hein? O link pro Instagram está aqui embaixo nos comentários, na descrição do vídeo. E é isso. Muito obrigado, um forte abraço e até a próxima.